You're listening to Conquering Retirement with Annuity FYI. Real strategies, real stories, no sales pitch. Join Tom Hamlin and his expert guests so that you can make smarter moves faster. Hit that subscribe button and let's conquer retirement together.
And we're back. Wow.
I'm
great to
pulling
see
up the
everyone.
questions, guys. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Bear with me here.
Don't worry, I'll warm up the crowd.
Okay. Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome back. Hey, Tom.
Gosh.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Meg.
Two
Hi,
of
Brian.
infinity.
Hi.
Hi. So
How's it
again,
going?
I'm good. So again, my name's Meg Odermatt. I also have Tom Hamlin here. Again, he is an industry leader, has been in the business for 35 years, and is an expert in what we like to say, is all things money, S with two vertical lines, including pesos. We also have Brian Hamlin here. He is, Hammy number 2.
Hello.
And he is also another industry leading expert.
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being with us today. So as I've explained before, we get questions all the time. Part of what we do is we do business in all 50 states. We try to make ourselves available to everybody, from the people that are just getting started, people that are still working and saving for retirement, and people in their 90s. So the questions range all the time. But I got a really good question from a soon-to-be client the other day, and I wanted to read it because I think it's really it's a really important question that most people have, especially right now. It's what are the 3 biggest regrets investors have as they approach retirement or in retirement?
It's a good one.
Top 3. Wow.
Well, I would say, okay, one of the main things is that as people approach retirement, they realize that they waited too long to start saving. So that's usually too late for most of the crowd that's going to be watching this, but they can share that with their kids and their grandkids, that start saving as soon as possible. Treat your savings like a bill so that you have a big nest egg later on. For folks that are already, that are closer to retirement, I would say that they regret either being too aggressive or too conservative. Sounds kind of crazy to say both, but investors of all ages must know and understand and implement their risk tolerance. So if you are too aggressive and you don't know your risk tolerance and you don't understand what you can handle, a couple of examples. So if you're in the stock market 100% and the market goes down 37% like it did in 2008, or 20% like it did in 2022, and you sell, it's called capitulation. You just can't take it. You can't sleep anymore, okay? You're just waking up all the time. Retirement's approaching. Well, that's a terrible time to find out that you weren't prepared to weather the storm, right? Because you could literally save your proverbial $1 million or whatever you have, and this storm could hit. Market goes down from $1 million to 800,000. You're up at night and you're thinking, my God, it took me 30 years to save that money, and I was preparing to retire. I can't handle any more losses. I don't care if it comes back. I got to get out of the market. And you sell, you've just screwed yourself, historically speaking. The market isn't guaranteed to come back. It just always has so far, right? And it's always bounced back, even if it's taken a bit longer.
That's a good point.
So for people that are too conservative, they could go the other way. They could be in a lower yielding 2 or 3%, bond or CD. I mean, for years, CDs were 100 basis points, 1% on a 1 to 2 year CDs. And then all of a sudden they see the stock market going up so much, and they're like, I got to get out of this. And then it's 2007 and they jump into the stock market and they're doing well for a little bit. Then 2008 hits and they just lost 20 years of CD returns in 1 year because the CDs were yielding 1 to 2%. and the market went down 37%. So you get my point. You need to understand your risk tolerance. That's a little long-winded, but
So you're saying regret number one, not understanding your risk tolerance, not knowing what you can weather.
thank you. Going into battle ill-prepared. How about that?
I love that.
You
Yep.
know? Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I don't love that, but I love the way you phrase that.
Yeah, most people wish that they had been better at managing their bottom line. And there
What
was
does
a
that
book.
mean? What is bottom line?
It means, well, it's the power of compounding is what Einstein said was his most amazing discovery. The power of compound interest. And it's amazing what can happen. There was a book written years ago that pretty simple book called The Latte Theory, I believe. It just literally said, okay, take that $3 or $4 or $5 you spend at Starbucks and put that into the S&P 500. Dollar costs that in over a number of years. And in 5 or 10 years, you have this insane amount of money. A lot of people just spend too much money unnecessarily on things that they want but don't need. You don't have to spend $300 on cable. You don't have to spend $150 on your mobile phone. I mean, those two things right there is $500. Dollar cost average $500 into the market over 30 years, and you're well into being a millionaire. I think that that's all in keeping with probably the third thing I would say is people not living within their means, and then they realize they have this day of reckoning where they realize that, damn it, I really woulda, coulda, shoulda done things differently, and I'm retiring in a great way is pretty straightforward and simple. Of course, understand your risk tolerance, but my advice to everybody is get involved in the market, do the S&P 500, the QQQ, and just keep putting money into the market over a number of years, and you're going to have a lot of money. But make certain that you can handle that risk. And if you can't, then you definitely need to diversify into more conservative areas.
But if I could jump in really quickly, you talked about not starting soon enough. I've heard that many times before. If you ask me, that's the biggest one, because the one thing that you can't get is time, and it's really hard if you haven't started. Especially you talk about compound interest. Einstein said that was the eighth wonder of the world. That's what that was in the.
Don't contradict me in front
Hey!
of the crowd.
I mean, let's say you want to be a millionaire by 65. Okay, you'd be in a good position there. If you started saving when you're 25 years old, you would have to just save. It would be under $10 a day. It's about $287 a month. And if that is invested in a vehicle that gives you an 8% return per year on average, you would be a millionaire by 65. So about $10 a day, let's say. It's less than $3,500 a year to get to that millionaire status. If you're 55, you have to save over $65,000 a year and make sure you're getting those 8% returns on average per year for the next 10 years to just crack that millionaire status. That's over $180 a day. I didn't verify those numbers. I just wanted to grab some quick statistics here. But the case in point being is the earlier you start, the easier it is. When I was studying for my industry exams, I heard a good quote: inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's hard. So the earlier you start, the better. It's much more manageable. It's easier to do, and you'll be glad you did. Spending money today is effectively, stealing money from your future self in a way. So that's the big one for me.
Can I chime in with one? Tom, you'll appreciate this one. I like the quote, it's not about timing the market, but time in the market. So it kind of goes about what you guys are saying. I think that's a big regret a lot of people have is attempting to time the market and failing miserably
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like buying and selling, as you kind of touched upon, and before.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
Mm-hmm.
then the counterbalance to that one is it's not so much the return on my principal as it is the return of my principal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I crunched a number while Brian was speaking, and I just took $500 at age 20.
Hmm.
I assume dollar cost averaging at 12%, which is probably low for the S&P 500. As a matter of fact, there's no probably. I know that's low if you're doing it every single month. And if you just did $500 a month and you did it for 45 years, that sounds like a long time, but $500 is not a lot of money because in the beginning, it's a lot of money when you're 20, but down the road, when you're 65, that's obviously nothing. And that adds up to so that's 500 a month in the S&P 500 monthly for 540 months. That's 45 years, 12% annualized dollar cost averaging return. So by default, you're buying fewer shares, fewer shares at a higher share price and more shares at a lower share price. $10.835 million. Now, I didn't do the math on this, but 540 total contribution, $270,000. That's
Well,
astounding. That's astounding. Oh,
Yeah. And even outside of the market, I see it happen with interest rates too. It's any market. So this isn't just equities. It can happen. I've seen it with Annuity FYI. I've had people call in and let's say that they're looking for just some monthly income with a fixed annuity, rates at 5 years around 5.5%, something like that. Well, someone might be a little bit cautious because rates, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, let's say, they were around 6% or much closer to that figure. And, someone might want to wait to see if the rates go up. Well, there's an opportunity cost associated with waiting. And unless someone knows something that kind of the rest of the street doesn't, let's say, well, is it really worth waiting and Tom said at one time to me, if 6% was the peak of Everest, which is what the rates were the last 15 years, well, we're just below the summit. So whether the market and dollar cost averaging to link it back to equities, that's been a very strong strategy. You're just getting in the market, time in the market, like Meg said, versus trying to, timing just historically, is it the best thing? Probably not, unless you really, really know your stuff.
human nature says that it's really challenging. I mean, we're always going to do what we're not supposed to do, but just out of fear, out of lack of knowledge, not and really just not knowing the future, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe this is a good spot to have like let's just sum it up. What are the three? So, do you just want to bullet point? What are the three regrets?
Not starting
yeah.
soon enough.
There you go. Number
Invest
one.
early, invest often.
Yeah, not treating their savings like a bill. Not treating retirement planning as a priority. It
That's a
needs
good
to
one.
be a priority. And I think that treating savings like a bill, because is huge. Because if you have a little money leaving your account every month, you barely notice it. That's why I always, we get so many calls from people that have access to 401ks. They're younger folks. And 50 or less usually, and they're not even fully funding their 401k. I said, until I always say the same thing, until you're fully funding your 401k, you shouldn't be looking into anything else because you need to get that money in pre-tax or post-tax in the case of the Roth if they're younger people for sure, or a combination of those two. Get those two things fully funded, and then we can talk. And then I usually offer to take a look at their allocation and their funds that are available to them, because most 401ks have a bunch of expensive funds in there. They really haven't evolved like everything else. Hopefully they have ETFs, and if they do, we help them with that, as you know. So
So that's another regret, not fully funding your full 401k while you can. which is, I
Especially with
think, is
the
a really
employer
big
match.
one. Mhm.
Yeah, there's so many
Employer
people that are
match.
just literally saying, I just do up to the match, or I'm not doing anything. I'm like, what are you doing?
Or the
I
minimum,
mean,
right? They don't
yeah,
even know that they can add more
right.
because they're just lack of education and knowledge.
Right. Yeah, but
Mhm.
it's and it's also one of the things that we haven't even touched on is longevity. I mean, most people are living longer, and right now we're at a bit of a dip. We actually had a decrease in life expectancy in this country um, over the last couple of years. But as a rule of thumb, and this statement goes back like 15 years, if you have a pair of 62-year-olds and you're planning on a 30-year retirement, which is what you should be doing. Um, Actually, said differently, pair of 62-year-olds, there's a 57% chance that one of those two people is going to live 30 years. And if it's not one of them, it's both of their neighbors on the left or the right of their house. Think about that. So you need to plan for living a long time, and you also need to absolutely anticipate that there's going to be inflation in there, and it's just a question of how much inflation. So you need to
Mhm.
be prepared for that.
Great.
Retirement planning does not need to be complicated. It's just like, there's millions of different workout platforms and ways that you can get in shape. The main thing is to just get up and start moving. And that's, what people need to do. It can be very, very simple, and we certainly can assist folks with that. And we love doing it. We're passionate about it.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Yeah.
great.
Well, you guys, I really appreciate you being here. I look forward to the next time and being able to answer more of
Thanks,
those
Meg.
questions.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Thanks,
and
everyone.
Brian.
really quickly, if anyone has any questions that they would like us to discuss, feel free to put them in the comments or
Put
something
them
like
down
that. I'd
there.
love to hear what
Yeah.
everyone. Yep, I'd love to hear what everyone is thinking.
Oh,
And
give us a thumbs up. We
Yeah.
need a
oh
thumbs
wow,
up.
that's
Yeah.
Smash the subscribe and then thumbs up.
you
Yes,
just
there
put
we
the
go.
hard sell on for the thumbs up. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
All right,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
All right,
Appreciate you
thanks,
both. Take care
Okay,
until
thank
next
you.
time.
Okay, bye, Meg. Bye,
Bye.
bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Conquering Retirement with Annuity FYI. Ready to take control of your future? Call 1-866-223-2121 to speak with one of the guests on our show and get your questions answered today. Visit annuityfy.com for more information and to contact us online. Follow the show and make sure to turn on notifications so that you'll never miss a tip, strategy, or breakthrough moment.